Good afternoon. Mr. Secretary, before you leave, I have some APDs. I thought I'd try. Is my presentation? Okay. I'm always glad to come over to Vernal, and one of the things I'm going to put the commissioners on point here. Do you know what the definition of what the meaning is of vernal? The word?
Equinox.
Anybody?
One of the equinoxes.
Anybody? There it is. Youthful or of occurring in spring. So I just want to see if the commissioners were still listening to me. EOG Resources is one of the largest non-integrated E&P companies in the country. Non-integrated means we don't own midstream or refineries, that type of thing. We operate, we're headquartered in Houston, operate in every major basin in the United States, about 2,300 employees, and I think our market cap is about $21 billion based on the price of oil today. In Vernal, we've been operating for 50 years here. We have 101 employees in our Vernal office. From 2005 to 2011, we have invested over $1.5 billion in the basin. In royalties, we paid $23.6 million in royalties in that time. In severance tax, we've paid $48.7 million in severance tax. And then in ad valorem, which is a little harder to guess since we paid it in October, we have paid approximately $9.9 million in ad valorem tax. So we've been here a long time, and we really appreciate working in Utah. This is our corporate strategy. Our attorneys are making me tell you this. Currently, EOG is focusing on more liquids-rich plays right now. About 80% of our capital expenditure budget is going towards oil plays. We're trying to get more oily or liquid, and the Uintah Basin plays into that. We do have a lot of natural gas liquids that's associated with the gas here, but we are spending a lot of money down in the Eagle Ford in Texas, and then the Bakken play in North Dakota. We're probably the largest producer in both those plays at the moment. So a significant amount of our capital is going there. We're currently drilling in the area to hold acreage, but what I'm going to talk about is our EIS is really a long-term planning strategy. Again, we've been here 50 years, and we see the Uintah Basin as something that we're going to continue to invest in and be here long-term. It's that long lead time on EISs. We've seen those in Wyoming have gone from 3 years for an EIS to 7+ years in the EIS. So that lead time for us to invest is a significant investment of resources and personnel. So a little bit about our project. The Greater Chapita Wells project is an existing gas production area. First well was drilled in 1952. We have approximately 1,200 wells there right now on 979 existing pads. It's only 42,000 acres, which is pretty significant, so it's very gas-rich play. And we have all sorts of surface ownership, mineral ownership within the project boundary, which I'll show in a moment. This is just a map that shows where the location is there south of Vernal. You can see the intersection of the highways, and it's in that purple down kind of in the lower right-hand corner of the slide, or middle of the slide, I guess. We are on the White River. We abut the White River, and then you can see the Green River to the left of it. So that's where the project area. Production from this area since EOG has been operating since 1961, it's created 8.2 million barrels of oil, 542 BCF, so that's 500 billion cubic feet of gas, and 43.6 million barrels of NGL. So a very rich area and worth continuing to develop. This is a close-up of the project boundary. I don't know if it shows up very well. This shows the mineral ownership there. The yellow is BLM lands. The kind of the gray is private, so very little, and then on the left side of the slide is Indian land. So very, very different, or a mix of all types of ownership there. This is the current footprint of Chapita Wells area. Again, those 1,200 wells in that area. So we will be infilling that area, is the plan for the EIS. Our EIS has a 15-year planning window, and we're assuming, again, for planning purposes, 40 years per productive, each well will be productive for 40 years. And we're trying to minimize our impact of surface disturbance there. We're using vertical and directional drilling, of course, as much as possible, and we will expand. There's 979 pads in the area. We'll expand those as needed and probably add an additional 700 pads to this, to the area in that 15 years. The EIS proposes to be running up to 10 drilling rigs during that time as needed. So again, market conditions are obviously a big factor in how many rigs are running. But for planning purposes, we assume each rig can drill 30 to 60 wells during that time. The surface density is, that we're proposing is 20-acre surface density. And you'll see the initial disturbance there, we disturb about 12.7%, or 5,356 acres of that area would be initially disturbed, and then after interim reclamation, once we're starting on production and operating, it'd only be about 7% of that, the surface in that area would be disturbed, 2,893 acres of that. The downhole spacing, we are proposing to do 5-acre and 10-acre spacing. That's downhole. So what that means is we'd be directionally drilling to do that. And again, that's based on economics of the area, where gas prices are. The current project status of the EIS, we started it, kicked it off with a notice of intent 2 years ago, essentially, September 9th of 2009. And we've worked through the alternatives now. And it's in development. They've done the chapters 1, 2, and 3 of that, looking at the affected environment. We have completed a detailed air emissions inventory of the area, so we know what our emission footprint is. But right now, we're working with the state, with EPA, with BLM on the air quality modeling, which is kind of the critical path item right now. We are participating in the wintertime ozone study. And we're excited to try and figure out some science there, but that's kind of a long pole in the tent for us, is determining where we go on the air quality side. Hopefully, if the schedule comes together as planned, we'll be completing by end of next year, we'll have a draft on the street. Some of the things we're doing to address air quality, we understand it's a huge problem. Essentially, we've let Anadarko plow the road in front of us, and we're following on their footsteps on mitigation measures on the air quality side. You can see here on the drilling rigs, the D-highs, we're starting to cut down emissions on our D-highs. Pumps, we're sending those to treaters and burning those or control devices. We're using solar power as much as possible to reduce engine emissions that are on site, on location. In the tanks, we're also reducing committing to reduce our flash emissions as well, going to green completions, and then using low bleed pneumatics on all of and retrofitting our existing production, and then anything going forward. Traffic reduction is always a sticky problem, but we have done a lot of traffic planning for the area to reduce the number of truck trips out there. And then, as I said, multi-well pads and directional drilling. So we're proposing, again, for planning purposes, up to 8 wells per pad on those new pads, the 700 that we said we'd be proposing. We may go more if possible, if that makes economic sense. Pitless drilling, we're doing pitless drilling all over. In North Dakota, we do use a cuttings pit in North Dakota, but all the drilling fluids are contained within tanks on site. We do, the drill cuttings are then buried. I'm not sure what we're going to do here with once the EIS is finally completed. And you can see our additional steps there, bird production, dust abatement, transportation planning, again trying to minimize routes, make sure that We take care of dust and truck traffic. And then our favorite, of course, are wildlife surveys. It's interesting with the hookless cactus, some of our pads that have been reclaimed are starting to have hookless cactus grow on them, which is an endangered plant, which is problematic. Then what do? You know, you can't, you bring your truck on to maybe take off some water or something like that, and now you have an endangered plant that wasn't there before. So I don't know, maybe the commissioners have an idea that can help me out. And this is for the guys in the cheap seats back over there to test their eyesight. No, this is our attorneys saying that anything I said, you know, you can't hold me liable for it. So, any questions on the Chapita Wells infill project? Thank you very much.